Hello everyone, Lord Master of Sotek here. Before we get this Bretonnia video started today, I wanted to go ahead and show off just a couple little quick things that I noticed the people asking about on Reddit, and I just wanted to provide information to if I could. So one thing you'll notice is that when you're unlocking the chivalry meter at the top, once you get to a certain rank, your lords begin to start having certain vows unlocked. For instance, you see here, once you reach, I think it's the 3rd tier chivalry, all of your lords start with the knight's vow unlocked, or if they're a prophetess, they start with the 1st Troth unlocked. And then if you get all the way up to the max tier chivalry, all of your lords start with the questing vow unlocked. So the only thing you have to get is the grail vow. So the further you get along in the campaign, the less time you have to invest with getting your lords to have higher tier vows. You just start off with those higher tier vows, which is really nice. Also, you can see here that you can call upon the Green Knight an endless amount of times once you get to max level. And then I wanted to go ahead and show off the new items. The new Outbreak item has been shown off during the Everchosen, but it's called the Braid of Manon, I think. And the way you get it is you have to go capture Sartosa from the false daughter of Manon, RNS Assault Spite. And if you take Sartosa, the settlement, you unlock the Braid, which gives you a local buff to, I think it's leadership and anti-large, which is pretty powerful in multiplayer, but that's the only one of the new items that's available in multiplayer. So the remainder you have to get through single player, so I thought I'd show them off. For the Fay Enchantress, it will randomly pick a province that you own, and you have to get the untainted corruption there to at least 81%. So this could be very easy or very difficult depending on what province it is. It seems to be randomly generated based on if you own it. I'm not 100% sure if that's the case, but that's been the case in my experience. So just to read through the storyline real quick, it just says, there are thought to have been many enchantresses through the centuries, and she has certainly gone through many names, and no one really knows how many ages the current Fay Enchantress Morgiana has lived through. But as she travels the land between sacred groves, she draws to her side young children who harbor latent powers inside themselves, most of whom return to serve Bretonnia as damsels. It is fabled that one such girl was favored above all others by the Lady of the Lake. As the story goes, when Morgiana took her from her parents, the girl gifted the Fay Enchantress a most resplendent hand mirror, said to have inexplicable magical properties born of the child's own power. Such was the potency of the artifact that the Enchantress always took it to the battlefield whenever forced into violent confrontation with her foes. Now, however, the power of Morgiana's mirror has waned. Upon communing with the Lady of the Lake, the Fay Enchantress discovers that the mirror's power is closely tied to the purity of Bretonnian soil. With the defiling taint of the many belligerent races of the old world creeping across the land, the Enchantress's mission is clear. The only way to restore the mirror to its full potency is to ward away all sense of corruption that may fester across the dukedoms. And here you can see what it does. It gives 10% magical resistance to the Fay Enchantress, and it also gives her 15% Winds of Magic cost reduction to all Lore of Life spells. So pretty solid item, counts as an enchanted item, so you can use it and the goblet that lets you use the comet spell. So it's a really, really awesome item worth picking up. And then for Lewin, and I think both of these, or all of these unlock once you hit level 12. For Lewin, you have the Armor of Brilliance, which says the Bretonnian armor Aguiluf is well known amongst the dukedom's knightly classes. Once a great Grail Knight, he successfully embarked on countless chivalrous quests to rid the world of its foulest monsters. Thousands were slain by his sword. He was also famous for the glittering armor he wore, which possessed a magical sheen that would blind his enemies in combat, frequently giving him the upper hand. No one really knows what became of Aguilif or how he met his end. Needless to say that he failed to return from his final knightly quest and was assumed to have been killed. Neither he nor his resplendent armor were ever seen again until today. A piece of armor bearing his heraldry is brought before King Lewin, recovered by a group of Grail Knights returning from a holy quest. The iconography proves beyond a doubt that the armor belonged to a member of his household, but it does not possess the fabled radiance and is surprisingly brittle. Upon consulting with the Fay Enchantress, King Lewin discovers that both it is indeed his armor, and that its sheen and durability are magically linked. Its dullness and fragility an indication that its magical properties have long since waned. The only way to restore his armor is to buff and polish until its brilliance returns, firstly by melting it down and then by reforging it. Such work is no job for a peasant smithy. Instead, it requires a master craftsman's hands. So you have to build an armory, which is the max tier smithy building, and it gives you the Armor of Brilliance, which gives a sexy plus 30 armor and plus 10% ward save to King Lewin, which is just awesome. Both of those items are available exclusively in campaign. If you're playing as those characters, once they hit level 12, they unlock the ability to pursue and catch them. So with that, let's go ahead and hop into the rest of the video. Thanks for watching. Bye. Hello everyone, welcome back to the Albrecht campaign. I'm really glad to see a lot of people are enjoying it, because I think I'm the only person with early access that's doing Bretonnia, so I'm glad you guys are having a good time. At the opening of this video, either that or right after I say this, I'm going to go ahead and post up screenshots of the new items for all 3 legendary characters. And I, real quick, am just going to scan through the building browser here, because I know a lot of people just kind of wanted to see the new buildings to see if there's anything super different, which is not information I have like completely memorized. So, because last time I talked about the military buildings and that you don't need any like cross structure to get anything. Like, you don't need, like, you can just build the building for that chain and you're like good to go. But I thought I'd go ahead and show a couple things. So the armory, last time we talked about that it gets plus 2 armor for all armies. And I made an example of saying if you build 5 of them, then that would give you plus 10. It doesn't cap at plus 10. It does not have a cap. The cap to how much plus 2 armors you can get per capital is only limited by the amount of capitals in the game. So you can get like really, really heavily armored armies. There was some smartass in the comments that was like, plus 10's not that much. It's like, you stupid dipshit, read read between the lines. But anyway, so here are the new garrisons, just to show those off real quick. And I'm not going to stay long on each of these. Another thing that people were curious about are these, which I talked about a little bit in the Ikit campaign. Every single faction in the game has access to these now. It's a tier 3 garrison structure, and all of them are called something different. But all of them are the symbol of the Skaven symbol with a torch in front of it. And their name and the little text description here is unique to each faction, but all of them give you minus 50% penalty due to the presence or lack of corruption. So if you're playing vampire counts and you build the equivalent of this building, you take minus 50% public order penalties due to lack of vampiric corruption, while for most everybody else, you'll take minus 50% public order penalty due to too much chaos corruption or Skaven corruption or undead corruption. And then it increases the discoverability of Skaven undercities. And then real quick, I'm just going to go through the farms here. To my understanding, they have buffed how much money they generate for you. You do still require, if you want to get like a max farm, you still do need to go from field to windmill to farm to water wheel to landed estate. But I believe they've been buffed what they do for the most part. And then the same thing for the weaving house, to the cellar, to the clothier, to the storehouse, to the tailors. And then you've got the tap room, which goes all the way up to brothel. And then you've got the pox shelter. And then everything else, you can check out the last video, like the changes to the tech tree and yada, 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 yada. All right, so this time we're going to deal with some greenskins. And for this episode, I'm trying something a little different in the Skaven episode, where I'm cutting out the intern times on Mortal Empires to see how I like it and how y'all like it. So you might go check that out and give me your thoughts on it. The downside to it is, like I'm doing right now, I can't talk during these segments where I'm waiting for the turn to end and like talk about my plans for the next turn or just random stuff that I'm thinking about, because obviously I'm cutting that part out. And I kind of like being able to talk uninterrupted, so I think generally I intend on keeping them in, but I thought I'd experiment with it in the Ikit Claw campaign, because, you know, some people might feel like they're getting more bang for their buck, especially since I'm putting a soft cap of 30 minutes on each episode. But, you know, it is what it is. But in any event, hope you're all doing really, really well. I did want to address some criticisms that I've seen on Reddit about the new Bretonnia, and I probably should just make a separate video about it. That would be the smart thing to do. but I'll go ahead and talk about it here for those of you that are just watching, where a lot of people are basically like, oh, I'm pretty underwhelmed about like the Bretonnia stuff, and it kind of feels like a lot of people had really crazy expectations for this update, because kind of the big thing is that everyone seems to kind of forget. So for those unaware, CA has been doing this little thing for the last 3 DLCs, where every DLC has been partnered with a free LC update. So for the dwarves, for instance, we got the runic craft system, and we got the giant slayer unit, which was met with mixed response, because some people felt that the giant slayers, like, I think everybody liked the giant slayers, but I think some people thought that their implementation was a little lackluster, because the unit like doesn't have any unique, it's not like super unique, it's literally just like regular slayers. It's the Slayer model, they just gave them great weapons. Which, granted, that's literally what Giant Slayers are, to an extent, is they're just Slayers that are slightly more, like, strong, because they've lived longer. But there's nothing, like, really telling them apart from each other. So, there's kind of this constant debate of expectation versus reality when it comes to these updates that we've kind of seen happening now and again. And I feel like Bretonnia is once again falling victim to that. For the second update, for anyone who missed that, it was that the vampire counts got pretty much all of their update was that I think their tech tree got reorganized a little bit, and then they received the new vampire lords, which I should probably, like, help my characters instead of just sitting here looking pretty. Charge! Alright, dealt with those. Let's deal with all these archers. Spread out, lads. Charge! Alright, archers, let's move up and focus down this horde. But like, that was it for the vampire counts, was they reorganized their tech tree a little bit, and then they gave them the unlockable vampire lords, which there's a max of, I think, 15 lords, and it's 3 for each bloodline. And a lot of people really, really liked it. I know some people had criticisms about it, like some people didn't like the way a couple of them looked, but for the most part, it was received really, really well. And it feels like a lot of people are looking at the Bretonnia one based on the... Granted, I was reading on Reddit, and I understand that when there's a truth you should understand about the internet, it's that everybody who likes the new stuff is probably not going to say much, whereas the people who dislike the new stuff are going to make their dislike very, very known. Like, they're going to make a big kerfluffle about it. And so, taking what they said with a grain of salt, it seems like a lot of people look at the Bretonnia... Not a lot, but some people look at the Bretonnia update and they're like, oh, well, I think this doesn't look good. Like, I was expecting 5 new units and a new legendary lord and a new campaign and a new starting location and, really, really, just literally like a bucket list of stuff. And I kind of wanted to talk about it just because it gives me something to talk about while I'm wailing on goblins and orcs here with Albric. That let's see that Triton in action for a little bit. I don't really need to give too many more orders because army's looking pretty decent. But the thing is, I actually do think the Bretonnia Free LSC update is very in line with the other ones so far. It added a new mechanic system, which are the vows and the Troths, which give you significantly more rewards than they used to for getting certain vows. In exchange, like, you get better bonuses for them in exchange for having to actually work for it instead of just, like, clicking a skill point. Because it used to be, to get those upgrades, you would have to, like, you would literally just click a magic button and you're like, oh, look at me, I have X vow now. And it was super lazy and not that fun. And it didn't really make you feel like you got to grow with your character, which was kind of a bummer, in my opinion. Whereas now you actually do get to grow with your characters, which I think is super cool implementation, and you get to customize it too. It's not like to get like the Grail vow, for instance, instead of just clicking a button when you hit level 3, you now are like, oh man, okay, do I go defeat Archaon the Everchosen, or do I go like fight a battle in this one far off place? Do I try and win a heroic victory? Yada yada. Okay, we're probably gonna lose this fight, but we did manage to kill the Orc Lord, so hopefully we can just kind of keep pushing the Greenskins back. That's kind of the... They have a ton of archers, and our army was also mucho wounded. Like, I might be able to turn it around, but it's going to be hard. I need to get rid of all these archers, and I was really hoping my knights could take care of it, but that is not looking likely. Push out, push out. We gotta get rid of these archers. They're the only thing that can really hurt us at this point. Just gotta focus them down where we can. Get them out of here. Gotta chase off units where we can. Rally. Is that... Okay, good. Looks like the goblin thrower is down. Shoot. Kill the spiders. Kill the spiders. Oh, nope. It is definitely still online. Get out here. Stop that. I don't like the leadership damage you're doing to me. Yeah, I think there's just too many archers. It's unfortunate that the army comp of the AI here was actually good, and my army was also significantly wounded. Albrecht will survive. We'll just lose a few units, but not a huge deal. Hopefully the paladin survives. I'm not gonna like lose my mind if he dies. It's not hard to replace a paladin. It's just kind of annoying. All right, so they're gone. Or nope, they're not gone yet. Jesus Christ. I hate when the balance of power is significantly against you. It just takes forever. Okay, so there's army losses against us. That's okay, though. We did significant damage to them. I should not have killed the orc boss, now that I think about it. It would have been better to severely wound him. But that will push us back a bit. I don't... And it depends on what lord he randomly generates to follow up. But we might lose Outbreak here, which is... It's rough, but that's the game I was playing to buy time for the capital. Because losing my capital would be a lot more devastating than just losing Outbreak for like 5 turns. But anyway, but the vows are significantly powerful. I'll kind of show them off in detail here in a second. But most people may not be aware that they actually give pretty significant buffs. Ah, see, he got like a whole new lord. Alright, I'm not going to bother fighting that. He can just have us. That's super sucky. We didn't lose any items, though, so that's good. Because if I remember, we actually had some pretty good ones. Alright, so Albrecht's wounded. Not the end of the world. Annoying. But like I said, not the end of the world. So we lost our paladin. But we do have a new one coming up, so we don't have to worry too much about that. Musion's about to rebel, which is going to really suck. Let's see. Is Lannis our ally? No, he's not. Damn. Alright, let's get... Nope. I don't have any of the right text that I need right now. That's what we need to beeline for. So we're going to be on hot water. In hot water. For a good little bit. What's my garrison looking like here? It's healthy, which is good. We do need to go ahead and put a lord here to defend it. Let's put a life character. And let's tell her to hire some units to defend herself. We'll go ahead and grab that, and just hoping there's a chance that we can save the day. Unfortunately, none of the guys next to us are allies, because if they're defensive allies, they register all like attacking armies as enemies, so they will actually do what they can to fight back. Oh, I should have hired some more peasants here in Bordeleaux. But, like I said, we're not in a total crap position. Bordeleaux will be fine. We got an upgraded Garrison in Bordeleaux. It can hold out against pretty much anything. Like, as long as the Greenskins don't somehow get, like, a really powerful lord, which they won't, we'll be fine. Minor setback. But anyway, let me actually kind of show you guys the upgrades for the vows. A lot of people are giving them flack just because it's not like a instant reward system, but neither was the vampire count system. Like the vampire count system, you still had to work for. You still had to go out and assassinate characters or wound characters, and do all that nonsense to get blood kisses so that you could get them. And it's literally kind of the same thing here. Like, it's not a shiny new character, granted, but I hope people aren't so tied to just getting a shiny new character that's like the only thing they care about. And goodbye. And I also saw somebody just to be clear, the ransom captives and execute captives have stayed the same. Executing captives does not lose you chivalry. Only ransoming does. So I saw somebody was confused about that in the chat, because I do read it. Alright, so this is a Heaven's Wizard. We need to get... let's get Wind Blast. That's a really good spell. But, like, take this lady, for instance. So she hasn't unlocked anything yet. So if I get the Troth of Protection, I get reduced upkeep for units that have the Knight's Vow, which is Knights Errant, Knights of the Realm, Pegasus Knights. I also get stronger leadership aura, and I get a significant bonus to Untainted in my local province. And I actually need to pick something. Research 5 techs, build 5 buildings, rank up 5 times. How many more turns do I have left of the Greenskin? 10 turns. Yeah, okay. Let's do the level up one. And and these guys actually have a unique text for theirs. So the Troth of Protection says, should the Knights of Bretonnia answer the call of battle, their preservation and empowerment shall be my duty. So they may ward away all that is foul and evil to strike down the foes of this great land of chivalry. My obligation is to the lady realized. And then the Troth of Wisdom, if you get that, you get significantly reduced upkeep for questing knights. Then you get plus 10 Winds of Magic Power Reserve, which is awesome, and plus 10% campaign movement. Great. And then for the Troth of Virtue, you get reduced upkeep for all Grail Vow units. You get Immortal. You cannot be killed in battle, so that's how you get Immortal characters for Bretonnia. You get -1 wound recovery time, so instead of needing, I think, 4 or 5 turns to come back, you need 3 or 4 turns. And then you get Perfect Vigor, which Perfect Vigor is a really good buff. I don't know if everyone realizes how powerful that is. Stupid double barrel. Alright, so in any event, I don't really have any new items to put on her, but that's okay. We've got an Angry Strigoi here. And I'm going to beeline this guy to try and support her before that goes down. And like for the Paladin, for instance, so you'll see I don't have those as options up here. And you can still buy Immortality, but you can get it... Oh, no, you can't get it on through the hero. But like if I get the Knight's Vow with him, I get +5 armor, +5 leadership, +5 melee defense, +5 melee attack, magical attacks, and Perfect Vigor. And like you don't have to do those. They're just helpful. Alright, so let's go ahead and... Oh, and we've got this lady as well, so let's do hers. Which hers, I'm going to do Tex, because she's not going to be under attack as much. If she even survives, which is kind of a big if. I forgot to buy more troops in Bordeleaux. Damn it. One of these days I'll remember. And to answer some other random questions about Bretonnia, and of course outside of that, they also got... The Green Knight got fixed, so that... He lasts longer now, and once you get up to the max level of chivalry, he sticks around forever, I think, at that point. The only downside to the Green Knight is that he still summons... I think he summons wherever your general is, like your faction leader. Or he summons in your capital. He summons in one of those two places. I think depending on if they're on the campaign map or not. The only thing I'd like to see done with the Green Knight is if they could make him into an army ability instead of a character, because he actually can't do as much as a character anymore. He can't be assassinated, but he cannot assassinate other characters either, if memory serves. So he's not the easiest character to make super efficient use of. Okay, let's go ahead and go train in this army just to give her some backup. And let's get some poison and fire arrows here. And let's get some poison arrows here and another unit of peasants. Alright, and that will actually, if we can get all those units, we will actually be pretty well stabilized. At least until Alberic gets back and we can go back on the offensive. But in any event, I actually really, really like the Bretonnia changes because it gives Bretonnia a ton of flair just to feel like you're actually playing Bretonnia and you're actually going on epic quests and adventures and stuff like that. And it's really fun. I mean, it's not the simplest thing, but I don't know. I have weird feelings about the people who look at the free LC updates and they're just sitting there just expecting new units when that doesn't really seem to be the point of the free LC updates. The free LC updates seem to be exclusively designed to make the campaign thematically more appropriate for that faction. So, like, you know, I'm pretty sure that we're going to get updates for all of the Game 1 races at some point. You know, they're just going to keep putting them with a DLC. So, like, if you're one of those people that's like, they're not going to do the Empire, shut up. Like, just shut up. I hate when people, like, fearmonger like that. They're like, they're not going to support this faction because they would have done it already. It's like, you're literally basing that off nothing, and you're a twat. Like, you're just an asshole, man, that needs to learn to shut up. Because there's no basis to support that. Like, it seems much more likely that they will indeed... Grail Shrine. That will increase... Oh, yes, please. That'll also give us Grail Knights as a garrison unit. But it seems very likely that Empire will come along soon, as will Greenskins, and hopefully Beastmen, and Wood Elves, and Norska, and Warriors of Chaos. But the thing is about these things is that all of the updates we've seen so far have been expressly to clean up their campaigns, and sometimes they get like a new unit as a part of that. So like for the dwarves, we got Giant Slayers, which the dwarves desperately needed because they just didn't have an answer to fast-moving heavy cav that got into their back lines. Like Giant Slayers actually gave them a response of anti-large armor piercing. And then the vampires, their entire rework was literally just tweaking their tech tree and giving them thematic lords, which you have to work for to get. Same thing with Bretonnia. They didn't get any new units, but now their characters are more powerful thanks to those updates. And their tech tree and building tree got vastly improved. Alright, execute. Alright, looks like we're safe. So I don't know. I had to get that out. If you think that's stupid and you're like, Sotek, shut the fuck up. I mean, that's fair. That's fair. But I had to say something about it. I was reading some of those posts and I was just like, these people are just crazy. What was I working on? What vow am I? Oh, I have to win a battle at sea. Which, by the way, the pledge to Manon, I saw some people like, that's heretical. No, not really. I mean, Albrecht respects Manon just as much as he respects the lady. And winning a battle at sea to earn Manon's favor isn't going to, like, put him at odds with the lady. So that seems pretty fair to me. Plus, it's not like he... I think that's unique to Albrecht. Or maybe Albrecht's faction. But it's not... You can't... I know for a fact you cannot do that with, like, Lewin. You can only do it with Albrecht. Alright, so let's pick up a couple more peasants so that we can ride on to the backs of these greenskins and mess them up. But yes, I think that's enough ranting for one episode. But hey, give me something to talk about. But I am curious to know what you guys think down in the comment section about... Because I'm curious, and it could be that I'm totally wrong, and that there is a lot of unity behind the idea that a vow system, cleaning up the building structures and cleaning up the tech tree is not enough of a free LC update to a free LC race. Because in my mind, I view the free LC updates as a way to make those campaigns get away from the boring blandness that was their Game 1 playability, which matched with Game 1, but compared to the Game 2 factions makes them look really bad, and like clean up their stuff to make them more thematic and fun and closer to their lore, tabletop experience, and like RPG experience. Which I think so far, with all three of the free LC updates we've received, the Vampire Counts, the Dwarves, and now the Bretonnians, has been extremely well done. But it could be that a lot of other people see it and they're like, no, this like not good enough. And if it's not good enough for you, what I would like to know is like, what do you expect then? Like, what is it you want? What do you think needs to be done for you to look at that and be like, okay, that's like a good update. All right. Still can't get a Pegasus yet. Let's get Steward of the Realm, because growth is awesome. Alright, so we can upgrade Bordeleaux. Awesome. Which is good, because I need it to produce troops for me. And then we're going to ride to about here, so that I can defend Musion when the vampire counts pop out. Actually, okay, I can't make it to the city just yet. But yeah, I'm just curious to know people's opinions on that. Because you know, that helps. Oh, and there's a, granted, it's probably going to be out by the time I make this video drop, but there is a very, very important topic that I need you guys' helps on. I need y'all's help on. There we go. You guys sounds very weird to me. That's a northern way of saying it. I need y'all is just, it's such a good word, guys. Like, y'all is literally one of the best words invented by the South. It's so good and useful. But in any event, I need y'all's help, because this week is community week, which means that Games Workshop is actually taking feedback from the community about what they want to see in the future of Games Workshop IPs. And it is our chance as a community to rally together and make a push for something I think we all really want, which is to see Games Workshop officially give like an outward support of Creative Assembly expanding their human rosters. Because I think, and granted, I don't have a lot to base this on, it's just me like reading the terrain. I think that Creative Assembly has their hands tied when it comes to factions like Araby and Cathay, because those races never received official support in Warhammer Fantasy at all. Like, I think Kislev is safe, and I think we're gonna get Kislev one day, but that's because Kislev was actually playable to an extent. Which I think even Araby was technically playable, but that was in War Master, which I don't count. But like, I think if we want to see Cathay, which, I mean, who doesn't want to see Warhammer China? Like, y'all think Three Kingdoms is going to be cool? Oh, baby. Oh, my sweet summer child. To match the silliness of the upcoming, what is it? Game of Thrones? Yeah, that came out yesterday. I think something that everybody would love to see would be, get off of me, stupid bats. Peasant mobs, kill the bats. It's like one of the only things you're good for. Rally to me. Okay, Albrecht should be able to curb stomp all these skeletons, especially because all I have to do is lure them into the water. Because when, just like cavalry units take significant penalties when fighting in on the forest terrain, infantry units actually take significant penalties when fighting in water. As long as you get that little swamp symbol right there, the shallow water symbol. As long as your computer's like, oh, you're standing in shallow water, you'll get actually a bonus to fighting infantry there. As long as you're not also infantry. Or you have the aquatic rule. In which case, if you have aquatic, you just get like a flat-out awesome bonus, which is great. Alright, fire arrows. These are all fire arrows. Fire arrows focus down the Strigoi. He is weak to fire because he has regen, so he has 25% weakness to fire. Roast his ass! Alright, so these two are doing a good job fighting. I love this stupid Triton so much. Like, I know, I'm sure from CA's perspective, that was like one of the dumbest things, was that the community was so up in arms, not up in arms, but we were like so adamant about getting the stupid Trident. And I'm sure they were just like, these guys are crazy. But gosh darn it, it was worth it. It was worth every moment of complaining or whining or whatever you want to call it. Just a little feature that adds fluff and fun, which I care so much about, honestly. Alright, let's focus down these spearmen, bros. I need to get us back into the water. Choo 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 choo. Both of you, focus the Strigoi. Oh, more peasants. If I could somehow push out, that would be awesome. Can we focus this unit of skeleton spearmen and clear a way out into this water? Because that would be awesome. I actually really like the expanded Bretonnian roster. Because a lot of people don't realize it, but the Bretonnian roster has actually been significantly expanded in this game. Because in tabletop, like, we had fire arrows, but we didn't have poison arrow, or pox arrows is what they're called here. Which is hilarious, because to me it always sounds like the Bretonnian peasants are, like, dabbing, like, their diseased peasant blood into it to, like, make the arrows poisonous. Anyway, we also didn't have Royal Pegasus Riders, and we also didn't have Royal Hippogriff Riders. Like, all of those are brand new features we got exclusively in this game when the first free LC update happened for Bretonnia during Game 1, which was basically, like, the release of the faction. Good job, boys. Thank God. All it takes to kill some vampires is just ludicrous amounts of pew-pew. My one weakness. Oh, damn, it's already been 30 minutes. Well, alright, so these are going by pretty fast. I'm probably going to start recording multiple of these a day, which is good, because that'll let me kind of get ahead of schedule, which means more videos for you guys without me having to do everything super last minute and potentially miss a day if I get sick or have to travel or what have you. But in any event, like I said, if you haven't watched it already, I will have a video out the same day this episode drops about Cathay and how I legitimately need your help. Every single one of you. And of course, I would like to hear your thoughts on the Bretonnia update you've seen so far. And there may have even been little things that I've missed. I don't think so, but I am far from perfect. And I make mistakes. So, alright, let's get Lance Bretonnia for that sweet charge bonus. And then we're going to run and hide in Musion to heal. Alright, so that's going to do us for this episode. Thanks everybody so much for watching. Next episode, we will move along to trying to get confederated with Linus, and also fighting that ocean battle with Albrecht, which best way to do that will probably be to either try and catch one of these pirates as they're bouncing around, or maybe we can go to this fell cargo here with our with Albrecht, and maybe we can find a battle. In the event, thank you all for watching. Catch you next episode. Bye, guys.